Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy YouTube Blue coming back at you again, and it is Friday, and we are anticipating the Texans Governor Cup game against the Houston Texans. Battle of Texas is what I like to call it, but it's gonna be an interesting game. I'm looking at their defense, and I'm looking at their front line. Oh, they got some guys. And like I said, I'll talk more about that tomorrow. But right now, I just wanted to say just one more quick thing about the last game with the Lions. So, I don't know if you guys know, and I know this is like trivial stuff, but, you know, it's still something interesting to talk about. So, we all know that the youth movement with the Dallas Cowboys is real right now. And they clearly went young. They wanted to go young. They are now ranked third, with the third youngest team in the league right now. And as I said in the last video that I mentioned, that I love the fact that they went young, but this coaching staff is not good, i.e. Jason Garrett, Linehan. To me, they're not good at developing young players. And I feel like these young players have to kind of figure out things on their own. And I really feel sorry for Dak, because Dak doesn't have that support that most young quarterbacks coming in the league. You look at Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes is over there lighting it up with Kansas City. He has good play calling over there. He has quarterback coaches that's doing things for him. He sat behind Alex Smith for a year. He has a better coach over there that actually is doing things around him and making it, like how we say, Patrick Mahomes friendly. So, I guess shout out to him for, second year in the league and lighting it up. Now, again, they may come back to earth, but right now he's a hot thing. And I think that he's going to be one of those great quarterbacks going forward. But as far as our team, you look at Dak Prescott, and, a lot of fans that talk a lot of stuff and say that he's trash. I kind of just look at the bare minimum. They just look at the surface, and they're just like, okay, well, I see him doing this and he's not doing this, so obviously he sucks. So, there's more to life, and there's more to things than what's just on the surface. Because if you dig deeper, you will see the real problems, the real issues, and those are the things that actually comprise what you actually seeing. And me, I'm a type person, and I dig deep into things. I like to look at the broader spectrum before I just sit here and say this is an absolute, because again, I'm not jumping on the deck for Dak. Like I've said, I've and I'm not making excuses for him. He's definitely done some things that are not good, and he's definitely not an elite quarterback, but he's definitely capable. And I say this all the time, that he's capable of winning with the right system and the right players around him. Now, the disadvantage that he has is, like I said, he doesn't have a quarterback's coach. I said in the last video that Kellen Moore ain't doing a damn thing, and it's not helping him. I feel like Wade Wilson was better than that. You know what I mean? At least, we had a guy that was in there at least trying to, make him better. This is the reason why he was better in 2016 than now. Also, with the play calling, they were handcuffing him. I feel like what they did with the Lions, they kind of opened things up and allowed him to play to his strengths. And when you make your quarterback comfortable, it gets his confidence up, which in turn, his confidence makes him a better person, because he can concentrate more on his mechanics and the things that he's struggling at to be better than just trying to sit here and worry about, okay, I have this option, but you won't let me do this, so I have to do it this way, but I'm not comfortable with doing it this way. So you got to look at different angles of it when you're evaluating players and stuff like that. That's why scouts get the money, because I'm telling you, like, player evaluation is not just throwing on the tape and just looking straight at what they're doing. You have to look at the whole body of work. Perfect example of that. Will Hernandez, when he came out, he was with, I think, UTEP, whatever. That's a sorry team. Like, I think he was like one of the best players on the team, and he was an offensive lineman. Now, it's hard to shine bright on a team full of losers. And I hate to say it like that, but that was what his situation was. Not saying that the Cowboys have a lot of losers, because we have a lot of talent on this team. And I'm going to get into, you know, some of the bright spots too as well. But I feel like this team has a lot of talent. And we've had talent over the years. We've had enough talent in the past within these last 20 some odd years since we've had the Super Bowl. Since we had our last Super Bowl. We've had talent. We've had enough talent to get to the big game. We just don't know how to use it. Now, this current staff, we already know it's not great with producing talent. We wasted talent. You look at Martellus Bennett. You look at Anthony Fasano. You look at guys like that. And you look at guys that's been on this team for short times. And then they go to other teams and all of a sudden they do well. They give up on the wrong players in the past, and they kept the wrong players. So it's like their decision making has been really fickle. Now, again, nobody can project what a player can do when you haven't really seen much, but you got to give it a chance. If you invest in that individual, you have to at least give it a chance to maturate. Because if you don't do that, you're going to be sitting here looking at things like, okay, shoulda, coulda, woulda. Then they go to other teams and do great. Perfect example of that is Rico Gathers. You look at Rico Gathers and you're like, okay, the Cowboys don't trust him because his knowledge of the offense and things of that nature and his blocking is not the best. Look, you got a guy that played basketball for Baylor. Didn't play football since middle school. You're talking about bringing somebody from damn near the Pee-wees into the pro league, the highest level of football you can get. You're going to have growing pains. Now, as far as learning the playbook, I mean, I agree he should know at least the X's and O's by now. But as far as executing it, I think that there are certain packages they can put him in. Because, again, utilize your players for their strengths. The boy is 6'8". Use him and them long damn arms in the red zone. Throw him a deep ball one time. Not even necessarily a deep ball, like a 15-yard out or a 20-yard out. Off of a wheel route, kind of like something that we did with when Dak Prescott rolled out in that Lions game and he had Swain wide open. Give something like that to Rico to just break up the monotony. Just get him something to just clear him and make him feel comfortable. Because one thing I know is when players don't get a chance to display their skills and do things, and they drop a ball or something bad happens, they don't get the ball, it gets frustrating. But you got to give something simple to that player that's a guaranteed gain, a positive, if you will, to just get that confidence back on track. Now, you look at this Lions game, and this is the last time I'm going to talk about it because we're going into the Texans. Good win, but you look at what we have a very young team now. And statistically, I don't know if you guys realize this, but for the first time in franchise history in that Lions game, offensively and defensively, there has been no player 30 or over on the field. Now, Sean Lee would have broke that because he's 32, but he wasn't playing. So everybody on that field was under 30 years old. And that's the first time that's happened in franchise history. And I'm just speaking on the offense and defense because I know on special teams we got LP Ladderson and stuff like that. I'm talking about just offensively and defensively throughout the whole game. There ain't been nobody 30 years old or over. And that's crazy to think about. So you question where the leadership comes from. Well, like I said in the last video, Zeke has been stepping up. Dak has been more boisterous, and he's been taking more of a command of this team now that he knows it's his. And I feel like there's brighter days coming, but I'm not confident in this coaching staff and them getting things together to move forward. You know, I think as far as Jerry Jones goes, Jerry Jones needs to step up and say, hey, whether it's him controlling or Steven, he needs to talk to his son and be like, look, we got to make some changes. If things don't happen the way that we need them to happen this season, because you don't want this young batch of players that we have to be wasted. You don't want to waste another generation of young players not getting to that big game. We've had a pretty damn good offensive line over the years, and you need to get us at least to an NFC championship win with the offensive line that we have. You look at Tyron Smith, you know, he's been having back issues and stuff like that, even though he's technically still a young guy. Zach Martin, whether Frederick ever plays again, we don't know that. You know, it's a possibility that Frederick might not ever play again. But while he's still on this roster, it would be, and I don't want to say a fairy tale ending, but, you know, these guys deserve to have some success, because these guys been working really hard. And to segue in on guys that have been doing their thing, and to further understand why I said that this team cannot produce people and they keep playing players wrong, you look at Byron Jones. Byron Jones has, coming out of UConn, he was very high, a freak athlete. I mean, he broke the Guinness World Record in the the high jump or whatever. So, you know, the guy can leap out the building. You knew that he was technically a cornerback to begin with, and then you put him to damn safety. You put him to safety. I understand the Cowboys need a safety depth. Well, go out and get an actual safety. How about that? Stop moving these guys from their natural positions to a position that they ain't never played or they're not comfortable with. Now, these young guys, they're going to do what you tell them to do because they're new on the team. When Byron Jones first got here his rookie year, they were like, that is not my position, but that's where I'm going to go. So at the end of the day, you have to look at it like, this is what I want to do. I want to stay where I am. Lyle Collins wanted to stay at that right tackle position because that's where he wanted to be. He didn't want to be at the left guard position where Connor Williams is now. If a player tells you, or if you know a player is confident about something, they know themselves more than anybody else. And they are getting paid in this league for a reason. And they know their strengths and they know their own weaknesses. So if they feel comfortable with a certain position, keep them at that. Fill it with somebody else that can actually do it or has history of doing it. Like, I understand the position flex thing and you want to move things around and shuffle. That's fine in short stints, but don't make that a permanent thing, because then this person has to learn this position and they have to learn that position. One thing is you have to understand is that offensive line, every position on that offensive line is not the same, and the same thing goes for cornerback and safety. Those are two totally different positions. You know what I mean? Like, when you're a safety, you're definitely on the island. You have to know your angles. You have to make sure you are the last line of defense. That's why it's called a safety, because you are that safety blanket, so that guy don't score a daggone touchdown. You got the whole field to look for. See, mostly with cornerbacks, they're checking whatever player is on their side of the field, whether it's the left or right or in the slot. So you're kind of just following the guy. So it's a different situation. Now, Byron Jones was able to do it, but we already know he's much better at corner than he is at safety. So with that being said, he's been playing lights out at cornerback. Now, I'm going to read some stats off. So, Pro Football Focus, even though I don't like to regurgitate anything from Pro Football Focus because, you know, they're known to be able to skew some things, but this is definitely, he's actually ranked right now the best cornerback in the league, statistically. Now, we all know that Patrick Peterson is the ish, but I'll tell you where he is in comparison to Patrick right now, 4 games in. So, again, I said that they ranked him first in the league right now, cornerback. So, Byron Jones played 70% of the defensive snaps so far this season, collectively. He's had 16 passes thrown at him, and 7 of them were completed for about 51 yards. No touchdowns. He hasn't had a touchdown thrown on him yet. And that's not bad. Only 51 yards in 4 games. Pass defense. he is, I guess, Pro Football Focus says that his grade is a 90.6, which is phenomenal for that. And he's 8.5 points higher than Patrick Peterson, which is in second place as far as the cornerbacks go. So that's high praise for your boy. And I look at that and I'm like, congratulations, bro. Like, he definitely deserved it. He's a hard worker. And I've said ever since they drafted him out of UConn, I said, that's a cornerback, right? So why y'all wasting y'all time putting him at safety full time? I feel like you wasted a couple of his years. This is now what, his 4th year in the league? They should have kept him at corner, and they would have seen these results earlier. Now, as far as the DBs go, we do need safety help. We need to get somebody in here. I don't know who's out there. But they got to do something. We need a veteran safety out there, somebody that's a journeyman, that knows what's going on. We just need some depth because you cannot play Jeff Heath 100% of the defensive snaps. I love Jeff Heath, but he tends to, I don't want to say start to suck, but his production diminishes the more he's on the field. So you look at certain packages you put him in. I know the Cowboys use dime and nickel interchangeably, but more than likely they stay in dime. So I look at what they're doing on defense, and because they rotate a lot anyway, I think that if they take Jeff Heath and they put him in maybe like 15 to 18 snaps on defense, I think that's good for him because it gives him a chance to stay fresh, and he can concentrate more on getting that guy. We've seen how well he plays with limited snaps. You look at that David Carr play from the Raiders game last year where he saved us the game. And he's done a lot of the interceptions he's had, just being at the right place at the right time. Now, I feel like he makes more plays when he has limited snaps. So keep him at those limited snaps. Don't move him around like that and keep him on the field 24/7. Rotate him out. And that's what I believe. And then we'll be fine with that. We need to get some interceptions this year. We have none. We got to get some turnovers and takeaways, period. And if we want to win this Texans game, we got to do some things that we ain't done. Like I said, I like what Linehan was starting to do with the Lions game, but I need him to continue that because if he goes back to that crap, he can't be this. He can't be calling plays like that because you're stalemating your offense and you're doing no good for your team and you're not going to win like that. So that's all I got for right now. With that being said, y'all, like, share, comment, subscribe. This is your boy E2 Blue, always keeping it real. I'll talk to y'all later.